Welcome back, Wargamers. So I was at the craft store getting some black primer after the holidays, and I noticed they had these fronds, these pine fronds, on sale for about, I don't know, $4. And while I was looking at them, I thought, you know what? I bet you I could cut off the branches and make myself some nice pine trees for wargaming. So today I'm just going to show you how to make some quick and cheap pine trees. And if you do this while your spouse is around, this might be also a tutorial on how to get a divorce, because this is going to be a mess. So I'm just letting you know, do this when your significant other is out of the house. Alright, I've warned you now. So it's going to be a really quick process of just cutting off each one of these little branches here, spraying it with hairspray, or you can do any kind of adhesive, spray adhesive, and then running it through some homemade sawdust flock, and afterwards it will look like a pine tree, and it will be much cheaper than if you buy, a professionally made tree from Woodland Scenics. It won't look quite as good, I'm not gonna lie, but it will be much cheaper, about 60 cents per tree, rather than the $5 or $10 you would likely spend getting a pre-made tree from a hobby company. So I'll just go through the process. It'll be pretty quick, and you'll get some trees on your table in no time. So first thing, I'm just going to cut off just one of the little fronds from the branch, and I'm going to first shape the tree with some scissors, because there's going to be some kind of loose pine needles here, and they're going to be kind of a mess. So you want to kind of get that nice kind of pear shape you see on pines, like Christmas trees, that are narrow at the top and then widen as you go down the tree. So you're just going to take regular scissors, cut it to your desired shape. You can cut the pine needles really close to the trunk if you want to kind of simulate, I don't know, like an Italian pine, more Mediterranean, or you can leave them wider if you're doing a typical, Northern European pine. So I'm just going to kind of speed up the process so you don't have to watch me meticulously cutting this little branch here. And don't worry too much about getting a perfect shape out of your tree here. You really just want to clean up any of the rogue needles that are really standing out from the tree farther than the rest. And once you get a shape that you like, leave it be. If you keep messing, if you keep cutting at it, you'll end up probably getting something that you really don't like, and then there's no going back. So just take a few minutes, clean it up, and then you are ready to move on to the next part. Once you are satisfied with the shape of your tree, we're next going to base it. So instead of using your typical MDF base that you might use on many of your figures, we're going to instead use this vinyl tile as our basing material. It's a great material. I use it not only for terrain but also for basing figures now, because it's thin, so it doesn't rise off the gaming table very high, so it kind of blends well with whatever gaming mat you might have. And it's also pretty rigid once you are able to put some PVA glue on there, put your sand or whatever kind of basing gunk you have on top of there. The vinyl really becomes a very rigid material that does not bend easily. But in this state, before you mess with it, it's very easy to work with. You can cut it out with just regular scissors, which is great. You don't need any power tools. So I'll probably do a video on just the wonders of vinyl for all sorts of wargaming needs. But right now I'm just going to make my base off of a 40 millimeter diameter circle, which I'm just going to trace around on the tile and then cut it out. Very easy. Again, try this stuff. It's great. It's great. And also, by using this material, it's easy to drill through. So with a hand drill, I'll kind of have a pilot hole to put my tree trunk in to make sure that it doesn't come off while I'm using it wargaming. So here I'll just speed up me cutting this thing out. If you notice, cuts out very easily. It's a great material. You don't need a laser cutter, you don't need a bandsaw, you just need a good pair of scissors. Now that our base is cut out, we will now insert the tree into the base. So I'm just going to take this hand drill here, and I'm just going to quickly make a hole through the vinyl base, and we will insert the tree through that, and it will provide a very stable foundation so that if you knock it over while you're wargaming, the glue won't separate and your tree won't come off your base or anything like that. So it just gives it a added bit of protection from the rigors of wargaming. So here we go, just drilling through it. This material is really easy to work with, and once I get through the vinyl tile, we'll just widen the hole with a hobby knife, put down a little bit of hot glue into the hole, stick your tree in there, and that thing is not moving anywhere. Okay, so now for the fun part. I'm just going to take my tree and I'm going to spray it with some hairspray. You can use any spray adhesive for this. And then I'm just going to roll it through my homemade flock here made out of wood flour and poster paint. It's really easy to make. And then I'm going to coat it with the flock as much as I can. I might even do several layers of, after coating it one time, spray it with some more hairspray and then coat it again until I feel that each one of those little pine needles is pretty well covered in flock. And after you do this, you're going to want to let it dry, and then I actually do spray it with watered down PVA as kind of a sealant to seal in all that flock. If you don't, then you'll find your flock will be coming off whenever you move it around or touch it, and you don't want that. So there we go, and here are the finished products. Here are several different trees. On the right, I made kind of what I think is like a dead pine tree with kind of those brown needles, and then in the middle, kind of your typical large, almost, I don't know, Christmas tree. And then over there on the left, kind of, a more closely cut pine tree. So, using your scissors, you can craft different kind of pine trees, get different effects. Look at different pictures of pine trees online and cut them so that they resemble those, and you'll have a nice effect in the end. So here I made another pine tree which kind of is reminiscent of one of those really thin and narrow pines you see in the Mediterranean and in Rome, lining villas and things like that. So I'm going to make several more that are these really closely cropped, very manicured looking trees as well. And there we go. I made 7 pine trees in under an hour, and I think they'll look great on my wargaming table. They didn't break the bank, and they look rather good, if I say so myself. So I'm very pleased with how these turned out. Again, another quick way to save you a few bucks. I'm all about putting my money into my miniatures and doing whatever I can to kind of cut corners with my terrain, enough that my terrain still looks good, but I didn't spend a fortune or a lot of time making it. So until I see you guys next time, keep playing with those toy soldiers.